Welcome back. It's been a minute, but we're back. It's finals week, so we won't be joined by any players, so you only get these two goons. I'm Coach Bias. I'm assistant women's basketball coach, joined always by head coach David Smalley. Welcome, Coach Smalley.
Hey, good to be here. And it does seem like it's been a minute since we've been here. In the players' terms, a minute is a long time, but we've got a lot of things to catch up on. We're excited about where we are. You'd mentioned finals. Our players are diligently working on their finals and their papers and their projects, and we're excited to hopefully have you some good news later on about GPA, grade point averages. So we're excited to be where we are right now, and it's good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, as we alluded to, it's been a while, so let's go ahead and look back. We're going to review 4 games and then preview our upcoming trip to Pittsburgh to take on Carlo. So 4 games ago, we played Ohio Christian. So we headed up a short drive to Circleville to take on a team that the past 4 or 5 times we've been down at halftime. So can you kind of talk about, I'm sure that played, part in the motivation for the leading up to that game. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that game?
Sure will. Look forward to talking about Ohio Christian, but kind of want to bring everybody up to date. Right now, you realize we're 9-1. Did you know that, Coach? We're 9-1.
9-1.
That's a great start to a very good year. We started out in the rankings at 20. Then this first ranking we improved to 16, and then the second ranking at 14. And Coach, if we keep the ducks in a row here and do what we're supposed to do at Carlo, and then we have a very, very tough game at Alice Lloyd coming up next Tuesday, and then we go to Puerto Rico. When that next ranking comes around, we may even improve ourselves a little bit. And since then, since we last had this show, we've been to Disney World, drove to Florida, and had a great time. The players really enjoyed that trip. Went to Disney World, Animal Kingdom, played Weber International, and we'll talk about that. We've been to Pittsburgh, and then we're going to Puerto Rico here soon. So a lot of great things going on in women's basketball at the University of Rio Grande. Turn back the pages of time, as my daddy would say, Ohio Christian. And Coach alluded to the fact we played up there the last 2 or 3 years and have always been down at halftime. And we kind of changed that trend. We had a comfortable lead at halftime, and I think came out the second half, and I thought we just did a tremendous job. Our bench scored 52 points in that win, 97-69 up at Ohio Christian, and we were excited about that because they have some pieces and they have some, and it's just a tough place to play. But I thought we did some really nice things up at Ohio Christian.
Yeah, so definitely anytime that you're getting 52 points from a bench, you have to be happy with that, and that's something that we've kind of hung our hat on the last 2 years is how well our bench has played. And it doesn't matter. It's usually not the same person. It's somebody stepping up differently anytime. Do you want to talk about any of the statistics from Ohio Christian with some of the players?
Sure. We had, Kaylee Darnell, I thought had a great game. 16 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds in 28 minutes of action. Asia Williams, and I want to talk a little bit about Asia and Lavender Ward. There are, point guards, they platoon. They play extremely well, and they do all the things that really don't go noticed very much until you start looking at stats. But Asia, on any given night she'll get you 5 or 6 rebounds and 4 or 5 or 6 assists, and Lavender does the same thing. Plus, those two have the ability to just lock down people defensively and just wear out the opponent's guards.
Yeah, with talking about their defense, I can tell you right now that nobody on Ohio Christian wanted those two to be. And the thing of it is whenever you see one of them walking off, you have to feel a little bit of relief. You're like, thank God. And then all of a sudden the second one shows up, and it's like, she may go harder. They may go a little harder because, these two are just a great duo of defense. And as we talk about the other games here shortly, it's going to be a theme that we're going to talk about. Their defense rattles teams.
Without a doubt, and I think that's one of There's several reasons why we are successful. There's a ton of reasons why we're successful. That's one. That's a very important one. The platooning at the guard spot. Up at Ohio Christian, Harley Antrim had 10 rebounds. And anytime you get double figures in rebounds, you're doing what you need to do. And that was a big help to us as well. Marley Grinstead, a freshman, came in and just played extremely well. She had 19 points in about 17 minutes up at Ohio Christian. Kaylee Ross came in off the bench and had eight points as well, and so did Courtney Pfeiffer, came in off the bench and had 8 points. So, and again, our bench, as we alluded to, had scored 52 points, and Marley and Ross and also Natalie Kaladiev had 8 points. So we're blessed. We're blessed to be able to go that deep, and we shot well to free throw line, 80%. Coach, I've been doing this a long time, and there's been years I'm praying just to get in the low 60s, and we're knocking around 80 on night in, night out. So hats off to the girls. They do a tremendous job at the free throw line.
Yep. So we win at Ohio Christian. Then everybody's focus kind of shifts towards a trip coming up. Coaches were like, man, that's a very long trip, and we got to play. Are they going to be focused? They're going to Disney. They're going to do all these other things, and we like to call those things trap games. And Weber is no trap game itself, because man, they have the athletes, they have the players. They finished second in the Sun Conference a year ago. They returned all their players just about. So when we scheduled the game, it was an RPI game. Nobody wanted to play us in a 4-hour radius. So we thought, well, if we're going to make a trip, we might as well go to Florida.
Yep.
We go big or go home. So we make the trip down to Weber with our man Jeff Nelson. He takes us down there. We get there. We have all the fun time we want, and then we have to show up and play the game. So can you kind of talk a little bit about the Weber game?
Well, again, the theme, our bench scored 37 points down at Weber against their maybe 25. And again, that's a huge advantage when you can go to that bench and you're going to get production. And I thought we did some great things in a pretty tough environment to play in. Like you had alluded to, we've been on the road, and we'd spent time at Animal Kingdom, and then where's the focus? They did a good job. Really proud of them. They did a good job down there. Kaylee Darnell, 17 points and 4 rebounds, and Asia Williams, 6 points, 6 rebounds, and a couple assists. Ella Skeens, 18 points and 13 rebounds for a double-double. And we had off the bench Natalie Kaladiev had 11 points and 6 rebounds, and Reagan Willingham came in and hit some downtown threes and had 11 points, and also Lavender 7 points and had 4 assists. So that was huge for us as well. And again, free throw wise, 84%, and we're getting to the line. Our goal is to get to the line at least 24 times a game, and we're knocking on that door just about game in, game out.
Well, we're actually number 1 in the country in made free throws per game. I also think I may be a little biased here. I think it was because of our water boy that we did so well at Weber. I mean, that we had little Bennett down there.
Oh yeah.
And here we're at the end of the game. And, the girls are getting ready, and, he went down there with us, which was stressful for me, but thank God Coach Molly has patience, and he has him jumping from bed to bed to get off some of his energy. But I see him giving out water to the girls. I'm like, all right, good, he's staying out of trouble. I need to focus on the game. And at the end of the game, one of the players come up, and they give him $1. And I'm like, what are you doing giving him $1? And apparently, my son's a hustler, and he told him that he would get him water, but it was going to cost them money. So the water boy was making some money, and Coach Smalley's now going to take 20% of that as the owner of the team.
Well, Bennett had to learn a hard life lesson there. You got to pay the big dog a certain percentage. You got to pay some tax, and then I think Jeff Nelson was his handler at that point. So Bennett ended up about 40 cents out of that $1.
Yeah.
But what a great time for a young man to be around such a great group of young ladies and to experience riding in a bus. And on the way back, I looked back, and the players got him up in the luggage racks, and he's sleeping. And then Asia Williams says, well, I can do that too. And she got up there and they slept up in the luggage racks. It was just a great trip. It's one of those trips I think will be embedded in their memories, maybe lifetime, and certainly will be for me as well. So we got that W down there, and that was the whole. It was a business trip, but we had fun in the process.
Yeah, and it's always a better trip on the way back if you're going to make a 12-hour journey with a victory.
Exactly.
So we get back, we try to refocus, clear the mechanism, as you would say, and look forward to the next task at hand. And with that is a trip to Pittsburgh. So we get all the way back from Orlando, Florida, and now we got to go to Pittsburgh. So we go to Point Park, which has a new coach, kind of same philosophy, but different philosophy. Tons of new players, but they still got one thorn in our side, and that's Taylor Wren, who, my goodness, she produces time after time after time after time. If I've watched so many clips of her and tried to show our players, why can't you rebound like she does? It's a huge compliment to her. Mm-hmm. And again, she was still a thorn in our side. We were just lucky and got the job done. So can you kind of talk about a little bit about Point Park and what they're able to do?
Well, again, same theme. Our bench ended up with 31 points. We outscored their bench, and again, there's a theme here. And we had this luxury last year with the great run that we had because of our bench, and we got it again this year. And you know what's so exciting and comforting from a coaching perspective? We don't really have players that are really concerned about, am I getting minutes? Am I getting more minutes, less minutes? They're ready when their numbers called, their names called. They're ready and they get in. And I tell you what, that makes a huge difference. And up at Point Park again is a pretty tough place to play. You get on a bus and you ride 4 hours, stop to eat, stop to take a bathroom break once in a while, and then you get there a couple hours before the game. Sometimes that's a daunting task. And we actually, I think that first quarter, I think we were still on the bus.
Oh, yeah.
They got us 23-19 in that first quarter, and they hadn't played for, I believe, about 10 days prior to that, and they came out just lights out. They just shot the ball extremely well, and our defense wasn't really clicking in, and they did a nice job. But then we made a couple of runs, and we had a couple of runs in there. I'm sure you'll like to talk about the runs, but we go in at halftime up maybe 13. They come out the third quarter, make another run. Then we make another 20-3 run, something along those lines. So I was really pleased with our performance and production. Kaylee Darnell, 15 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. Tell you what, that young lady, she's got some triple doubles in her, notched in her gun belts, and I guarantee you she'll get some this year as well. And she's just knocking on that door. And Ella Skeens with 30 points and 13 rebounds, which kind of maybe set the stage for her for a pretty important announcement we'll make a little later on. But she had a double-double, 30 points and 13 rebounds at Point Park. And Natalie Kaladiev, almost a double-double, 9 points and 9 rebounds. That young lady just keeps getting better and better. And we're on her pretty hard. We put the hammer down on her, and we beat her with pads every day in practice. But she's getting better around the basket, and she's got a great game on the outside. And then Lexi Woods, old Mamacita. She came in. She'd been out for quite a while with flu symptoms and inner ear infections. She had a double-double, 17 points, 10 rebounds. And I tell you what, she was a big, huge difference in that win up at Point Park. Yep. And again, free throw, 23 of 29. We struggled early at the free throw line. But then we, at the end of the game, 23 out of 29 for 79%, knocking on that 80% door. So we stayed consistent and got a good road win against a good, tough Point Park team.
Yeah, any time that we can travel within the conference and get a road win, it's a good one. That first quarter, as you alluded to, man, it wasn't pretty. I think that maybe some of the bookies had the spread for the first quarter because they thought that Rio Grande was just going to come up there and do whatever they wanted to do. Coach, and this is something that you've probably seen over your tenure. I've seen it since I've been here with you. Whenever you're the top team year in and year out, you don't get a bad game from anybody. When you're playing your opponents, that's their game they circled. Like, if we can beat Rio Grande, you go back and you watch the preview to the conference with all them. Every game they're looking forward to. I heard a lot of Rio Grandes in there. but you got to be careful what you wish for sometimes. So again, went to Point Park, took care of the game. We won, refocused again. Finally got to come home for a home game to play West Virginia Tech. And again, it's somebody who last year we split with them, and then we beat them with a buzzer beater in the Final Four of the conference tournament. So, rivalry, sure. I mean, they're close to us, and that's kind of a team they look forward to playing us a little more, and we look forward to playing them. But we know that they're going to bring a good team, and they had a good team. They were 9-2 or 9-1, 9-2 coming in to play us. Had some very elite shooting 3-point shooters leading into our game. Can you kind of talk about what was Rio Grande's focus going into it that allowed us to get the W before we get into some statistics?
Well, you made a comment that we finally got home, and the West Virginia Tech was only our third game of this season home. I don't know who our scheduling coordinator is, but I'm going to have a talk with that chap. It is good to be home. We had so many home games last year, and you have to return those games to stay in the cycle with the opponents that you're playing. So we're not complaining at all. We've really weathered the storm being on the road. We're 9-1, and we're excited about where we are at this point. And then West Virginia Tech, that's a rivalry school for us. Coach Hodge does a great job. I think this is his second year over there. Basically a whole new program. They have a few returnees, but he's gone out and has done a nice job of recruiting and brought some good players in. And I believe this was your scout, and they were making over 9 threes a game and shooting about 38% in that process. So that's an issue. That's an issue because we're making about 3 threes a game, and we got to close the gap between that disparity there. And our game plan, and get this, our game plan, we're going to shadow and going to be in the shooters. There's 2 shooters that they had. We're going to be in their face. And then lo and behold, first minute and 15 seconds of the opening quarter, they hit 2 threes. So we have to take a timeout, and we just gingerly pat them on the back and say, now, ladies, that's not the game plan. And if you believe that, I got a bridge in San Francisco I'll sell you. To make a long story short, they only end up making 3 threes the entire game. They made 1 more 3 the rest of the game. So our players really dialed it down and dialed it in and stayed focused to the game plan and did a tremendous job, and we shut down that 3 attack.
So with that, one of the keys to success for my scout was we need to hold them under 3 made threes a game. Well, any betting man, those first 2 went in the first minute and a half. I thought, well, there goes that. I hope we hold them below 12. But again, the girls refocused during the timeout after Coach Molly told them, how great they were doing, and they needed to just keep doing what they're doing. They went out there and they refocused. Now, we were able to hit, I think their leading scorer was averaging somewhere around 19 points a game, but she's up there leading the country in made 3-pointers per game and overall. I believe she had somewhere around 58 already made. We don't even have that as a team. So we challenged our players when they guard her to just, use your athleticism and your ability to not let her get a shot off. She went 0 for 4. 3 of those were contested. 1 was wide open, and I think because of the contested, it led to a rush shot, which was a miss. The other 3-point shooter was, I believe, like 1 for 3. She was one of the ones that hit at the beginning. So they followed the scout to the tee, and they played well. And not only that, but we focused on us, and we played our game. We said we have to play our game and not let somebody stop us from playing our game. And our game was, 1, we're going to out-rebound you because that's what we do. Number 2 is we're going to get up and down the floor, and we're going to score more points than you do, and we're going to get to the foul line. If we could do those 3 things, we're going to be pretty successful. Did we do those 3 things?
Coach, we hit home runs on those things. You talk about rebounding. We out-rebounded them 56-38. And again, if you can control the rebounds, it's going to go a long way to helping you secure a win. And then free throws, 23 of 26. That's 89%. And again, we hit that magical number of 24, taking at least 24 shots at the free throw line. We made 23. And those 2 statistical categories, and those are little games within the game that we just did a great job. Players did a tremendous job on that. That was huge. Statistically, Kaylee Darnell, 20 points. She had 3 steals. Ella just playing. She's just en fuego, as some people would say. 38 points and 13 rebounds. So now she's coming off of back-to-back games where she has scored 30-plus points and over 10 rebounds in those two back games. Asia Williams did a great job with 7 points, and she had 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Harley Antrid, 6 points, and Jocelyn Abraham, who's been inserted into the starting role with Aaliyah Kreitz being out, and is getting better and did a nice job at starting. And she's a 6'2" left-handed post player, and that, I think, creates a little different look for the opponents, that they got to match up with that. And then Lavender Ward, as we talked about earlier, 8 points and Lexi Woods, 8 points and 13 rebounds. And old Mamacita, she can work the boards there quite a bit.
Now,
so that was huge.
She would have had a double-double with 10 points, but they called an offensive foul on a great move that she made that was not even close.
Phantom offensive foul there. So, but that was a great program win, and I think when we get in rhythm and we are focused on who we are and what we're doing, we're pretty good. I think we sent a little message there, but again, we played at home, and just to let you understand, we played down at Tech last year, and they handed us one of our 3 losses last year, so they'll be ready for us. But I'm pleased with where we are at this particular point in time. We have had some good news. Aaliyah Kreitz has been released to start doing rehab on her foot situation. So, folks, you may see number 20 in back in the action here next year, which is not too far down the road. So we're looking forward to that.
So let me get this right. You've won all those games without Aaliyah Kreitz?
Yes, sir. And some of those games without Mamacita, a.k.a. Lexi Woods. She missed two games, maybe 3 games.
She missed 2 games. So
yeah,
we're winning by an average of 20 points without Aaliyah Kreitz.
Well, but let's don't rile up the.
You got to give some. You have to give them some bulletin board stuff. Cause
there you go.
They're already going to bring their A game, so let's bring your A+ game. Somebody got to take it down at some point. So we get done with those 4 games. We move forward. Saturday we're going to be playing Carlo. Carlo's Carlo. I mean, I personally think Coach Mark, and this is her scout, and she's watching. She's alluded to that she thinks this is the best Carlo team, the best complete Carlo team that they've seen. They have a point guard, they have shooters, they have a post player. So again, we lost the Carlo probably it was maybe about 6 or 7 years ago when we had those 4 ACL tears, and they had the girl from Columbus, really good rebounder. And you know what? We use that for motivation for 3 or 4 years every time we go up, and I still think we use it as an example because you have to respect every single opponent you play, and I'm telling you, they have all the intangibles to beat us. We can't just show up and win. Now, we joke when we say, hey, we don't have Aaliyah Kreitz and we're winning, we're doing this, but everybody's subject to lose. Everybody can play a bad game. I mean, we went through a 4-game stretch where everybody on our team had flu-like symptoms, and I mean, we looked like slugs. We lost the game during all that.
Yep.
Somehow we won games after that, but that was a 3 or 4 game ripple kinda, and then we're kind of in that same thing where people are getting sick. We have some noses stopped up and stuff, so you got to focus and go to Carlo ready to play, or they'll hand us a loss.
You have to, and our philosophy here, if we can get at least 7 or 8 players to go, we're not going to cancel anything. That COVID situation, we end up playing like 25 games during that COVID, where some teams are only getting 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to play. We're going to play and make it happen. Now we're going to Carlo. And for those of you that maybe don't understand what happens behind the scenes, this is an up and back trip, same day. So the wheels on the bus will go round and round at 6 a.m. Saturday morning. And we'll make the 4-hour trip up there in a bus and stop and eat and stop and take a break or 2 and then get there a couple hours before the game and then get off the bus. And hopefully our last trip at Pittsburgh, we didn't get off that bus that first quarter. Hopefully we'll get off the bus and be focused and ready. But you got to respect every opponent. You got to respect Carlo. Ost, I believe is her last name, number 44, left-handed, 6'2" post player. She just gets better and better and better every year. and she'll create some problems on the inside. And they have a plethora of guards that are kind of new to the program this year, and they're athletic. They can get it to the glass. They can create problems for us. They press a little bit, and we're playing at their home. So they're as you talked about. This is their rodeo. This would be a notch in their belt to upset a nationally ranked team in Rio Grande. So our ears will be pinned back, and we'll be focused and ready for a pesky little.
Yeah, if you didn't think the target was already big enough, not only can you beat the number one team in your conference, but now you can get a top 25 victory.
Yep, there you go.
So that only adds on. In our conference, usually you're lucky if you can have one or two teams that you have a chance per year to do that. And, it falls on us. So every time we go and play, that's the big game where the crowd's going to come out. That's the big game. But that's part of the reason that they come here, because we sell that in our recruiting pitches. Mm-hmm. You play in those games when you come to Rio. You handle that environment, and this is what you're coming for. So we take care of business Saturday, hopefully. Before the next show, we have one more game. It'll be the following Tuesday. It'll be in Pipapassa, Kentucky, with Alice Lloyd. Go down with your buddy John Mills. It's always a battle when we play down there, literally. I mean, I think we lost a few years down there, 98 to 94. They come back up. Again, you gave them a stern talking to. We got the victory. It's a team that usually, it doesn't matter what the records are, where we rank in the places. For a long time, it was the top East and the top West team. Now they're on the same side with us, so we play home and away with them. I kind of like that. Can you talk a little bit about what you expect from Alice Lloyd and a very, very great player in Cash who's been playing really well for them?
Well, again, when you go to Pipapassa, Kentucky, and play at Alice Lloyd, they have a beautiful facility. It's just recently a new facility in the last couple of years. Again, you're in the gently rolling hills of southeastern Kentucky. Extreme eastern Kentucky, and it's a tough journey to get down there, and you got to get off the bus and you got to be ready to play. And it's a tough place to play. And as you mentioned, Cash, she's been, I believe, Player of the Week in the River States Conference already one time. They're 9-1. 9-1, and they're undefeated, I believe, in the conference still at this point. So we go from West Virginia Tech, who was actually leading the conference. They were 3-0 the time when we played them Saturday, and we were 2-0. So now we're going to Alice Lloyd, which kind of the same thing. I think our record's probably the same, 3-0 in the league. So it's going to be another highly contested game, and we're going to have to be clicking those little statistical categories we talk about. We got to out-rebound them. We got to get to the free throw line. We got to make 78 to 80% at the free throw line. And then I think our bench is going to play another huge role in this game down at Alice Lloyd. So you never know what you're going to get into when you get down to Alice Lloyd. It's a great environment. They'll have that place rocking and rolling, and it's going to be another great River States Conference game, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
I'm sure their student section will be ready for us. And we love playing in those environments. I think it actually makes us play better.
It does. The
girls look forward to that. So here we are, 9-1, ranked number 14. The new polls come out on Monday for the conference, and the top 25 on Wednesday, the day after we play Alice Lloyd. So got to take care of business. Again, we don't have many home games. We have no more for this year. January the 3rd will be the next one. The good thing is towards the end of January, leading into February, I think six of our final 7 or 7 of our final 8 are all home.
Yeah.
So you're running out of chances to come and watch this group. I wish I could preserve this team and keep them for like 4 years all together. They're just so awesome to coach and work with and get to see every single day. I think spending the downtime really shows you how much you really are attached to them. They're just awesome people. I think the fans that do come, they can tell you exactly what we say in that. They're just great people. They'll come over, they'll talk to you, spend some time talking with them. They eat up all the attention you give them, I promise you. They think they're big time. So make sure that you come out whenever you can. If we play a close away game and you want to come and watch us, that would be awesome too. Again, we play at Alice Lloyd next Tuesday. Then we play at Indiana Wesleyan, which is out near Indianapolis. We play them on December 30th, and then we'll be back home January 3rd. January 3rd, I'd love to see just a huge crowd. We'll play IU Kokomo, and I think it'd just be awesome to have that atmosphere before we go away for 2 more road games. So anything you'd like to close with?
And then on January 3rd, I just want to kind of give a plug. We are going to do a drawing for a pistol, a 40 caliber 9mm gun pistol for a fundraiser for the Patty Forgy Academic Scholarship. And we're selling chances on that. If you have an interest in winning a gun, give me a call or Steve Forgy a call, or check us out. It's $1 for 1 ticket, or it's 5 tickets for 20. And again, Patty Forgy was a long time. She went to school at Rio. She was a athletic secretary for 40 years at Rio, and of course she has passed away. And we're doing a memorial scholarship, be an academic scholarship that her family will determine who will receive that scholarship on a yearly basis. So we're excited about that, and looking forward to seeing you guys at a game here soon.
Yeah, and closing on this, if you don't have the opportunity, please look on our team Facebook, our team Twitter. We usually post all the links to the games, so you can watch some of the away games. All the home games are free to watch. They're broadcasted and streamed. You can watch them at our local Buffalo Wild Wings. You can also, if you have a smart TV, you can download the NAIA app, and you can have that. So plenty of ways to watch us. We're coming. We finished 1/3 of the season roughly, counting through conference tournament. That's hard to believe.
It is, yeah.
We spend all year like, when's basketball season going to start? And now we're 1/3 of the way through. So again, great team, great product. Come and have a great time. It's a great place for you to bring your family for the day. We hope to see you out in January. And until next week, that's all we got. We'll see you soon.